Welcome to another edition of Bases and Balls with Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus, kind enough to join us each week here on WAKR, WAKR.net, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. Rosie, let's talk some baseball. It has been a difficult road swing for the Guardians bullpen. And a lot of these guys, I'm not saying struggling, but they've been hit hard, maybe some problems with control. But you see these guys each and every pitch. Talk about the bullpen, where they are on a rough road trip.
Well, Ray, I think coming out of the All-Star break, that rough one in the first game out of the break on Friday over in Texas, you can chalk that up to, they hadn't pitched in a while. They were coming out of the break, and it looked like it. And most of the pitchers who had a hard time that night have come back and pitched again and done fine. I think the two concerns, Trevor Stephan has had a tough go of it, not nearly as dominant as a year ago, trying to find that good feel for, he has a split-fingered pitch that works really well, but he just hasn't been able to get that good feel for that. And then Sam Hentges hasn't been as dominant as he was, especially at the tail end of last year. Now, remember, he missed a good portion of spring training with a shoulder issue, and sometimes it's hard when you miss that foundation time, those 6 weeks in spring training. You kind of feel like you're always playing catch up, and his stuff's just not quite as crisp, and he's not throwing as many strikes. Now, that could come around, and this may just be a phase that he's going through, because he's still got a great arm and all that kind of good stuff. So those are two pitchers that I think they're really working through some things and hoping to get back to a good spot.
On the positive side in the bullpen, Rosie, earlier on this road trip, Curry out of the bullpen stepped in a starter's role, one of those bullpen games, and gave Tito 3 really solid innings.
Yeah, and he's been terrific all season, really. And, there's a hole in the rotation there. You mentioned that start that he made. And the question is, well, why don't you just start Curry? But the flip side of that is then you don't have a relief pitcher who can give you multiple innings like he has on so many occasions. So I think that's what they're trying to balance. Can you get by without that luxury in the pen? Sure, you can, but it's nice to have. And especially with the young pitching, the potential is there for some shorter starts, the young starting pitching. So you'd like to have someone who can give you some length out of that. And so we'll see how they handle it. Maybe they do bring him back and he makes another start. There's an opening there on Sunday, so we'll see what happens. But he really has been good. And it's nice to see. He's a good hard worker. And at the end of spring training was told, hey, you're going to Columbus. And then he never did get over to the minor league side because there was an injury to Tristan McKenzie. So they called him right back. And there's been some chances where, because of, he pitched a lot of innings and they might have needed a fresh arm, or they might have sent him out. And Tito said, we can't do that to the kid. He's pitching too well. And now he's firmly entrenched in this pitching staff, and he's thrown really well.
Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus with us. And Rosie, when we talk pitching, we got to talk about Shane Bieber. What do you know here on Shane Bieber right now?
Well, he's still in the shutdown mode and will be for another 10 days or so before he can even pick up a baseball. And honestly, Ray, we probably won't know much more until he does pick up a baseball, if he can. The thought is rest for 2 weeks, do your strength and conditioning and any type of non-throwing activity that's helpful for that elbow area. But a lot of it is just letting things calm down. Whatever's going on in there, they want to let it calm down and then take it from there. Hopefully the news is good after this rest period and he picks up a ball and starts building up. Either way, if it goes perfectly, I'd be shocked if he's back before mid to late August at the earliest. So it's going to be an extended stretch of downtime for Shane. Hopefully it's not the other part of it, which could be worse, which would mean surgery. But, they're going to see, if this helps, just letting it calm down and then building back up again.
In Pittsburgh, the offense scored 11, 10, and they didn't even put 5 on the board in that 7-5 loss. Part of that is Josh Bell getting going with lengthens that lineup when you got Ramirez and Naylor and Josh Bell. And what can we say more about Josh Naylor? But when you look at Bell and the importance there, I thought that was evident in Pittsburgh, Rosie, because Naylor swinging, Jose there, and then Bell. And that's kind of what this team envisioned going all the way back to February and March.
Yeah, it's taken a little while to get there, but it looks like Josh is starting to come around at the plate, and that's good news because they really could use another power bat, and he provides that. And you're right, just lengthening the lineup. If they can get 6-7 hitters going at the same time, I think we saw the results this week in Pittsburgh where it's really good. And really, if you look back, there's a point of demarcation around the end of May where it's really started to. And since then, since the end of May, the Guardians have had one of the better offenses in the American League. So they're scoring run average, all the things they weren't doing the first 2 months of the season, they're doing. And certainly having Josh Bell be a part of that is a big reason why.
And Miles Straw in the outfield, to be quite honest, his bat has come around. His average is on the increase. You got Will Brennan. And you told me a couple of weeks ago that Oscar Gonzalez was swinging well in Columbus. And I wanted to get an update because a lot of people are always asking me about Oscar Gonzalez because he had such an impact on our team last year. How is he doing? And you know if there are any plans in the future, barring an injury, of maybe him coming back to the club this year?
Well, he's handled himself very well down there, and he's going through a real hot stretch right now. Wednesday night hit a grand slam for Columbus and had another big night at the plate, hitting close to 400 for about a 3-week stretch with power. Chris Antonetti was on the trip to Pittsburgh, and he actually talked about it yesterday or Wednesday, and he said they like what he's doing. They're really happy with the way he's attacked things down there and some adjustments. Is he ready to be called up right now? I don't know. He wouldn't commit to that because obviously there has to be a spot for him to play. Do they want to make some adjustments to their roster, and what does that look like? Obviously against left-handed pitching, he would get some opportunities, but at least for right now, and this could change by the weekend, who knows? But from what Chris was saying, they're just going to let him keep working on what he's been working on and get to a really good place and then see if there's a fit up here.
And Rosie, to go along with that against left-handed pitching, two guys that have figured into that and it paid off for us, that I don't want to say stopping Oscar Gonzalez from coming, but Fry is really hitting against left-handers, and Freeman has done really well against left-handers. So you have those two guys that are really on the improve. And, to their credit, they've had their, quote, impact on this lineup.
They really have. And I think in Fry's situation, he provides tremendous versatility where he can play both corner outfields and both corner infields and catch. And that's big. So again, I'm not sure the way the roster's comprised right now, there's just not a fit, but that doesn't mean that they won't make some sort of adjustment to change that up if they feel that Gonzalez can be a difference maker again.
Bases and balls, Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus pays us a visit each week on WAKR. Rosie, before I let you go, Philadelphia this weekend coming in, sold out on Saturday night. Should be a lot of fun. Summer in the city. What about the Phillies in the summer of 2023?
Well, it took them a while to get going after making the World Series a year ago. They had some injuries to deal with, but Bryce Harper's back and they're cranking. They are going really well. So the Guardians are catching them, probably playing their best baseball of the season. They seem to be making a beeline for the postseason again. I don't know that they can overtake the Braves and win the National League East, but they're certainly firmly entrenched in terms of a postseason spot. And we saw a year ago, if you can get in, they're a dangerous team, and they got in and they took it all the way to the World Series before losing to Houston. So good ball club, a lot of characters, some of the best players in the game, and it'll be fun to see.
All right, Rosie, as always, my friend, thank you for making time with us here on WAKR.
You got it, Ray. Thanks.